Metathesiophobia is the fear of change or changing things. Yes, there's an actual phobia, diagnosed phobia of change. I would venture to say that most of us, from time to time, suffer from a mild dose of metathesiophobia. Even though phobia is on the extreme end of the change-resistant spectrum, human beings display varying levels of discomfort when confronted with change, especially if the change requires a personal commitment or investment. Change resistance, whether discomfort or an extreme phobia, is a reality. Let me share an example. When a top South African brand, dishwashing brand, changed their functionality and shape of their bottle from the traditional, tried and tested upright bottle with a pull-up nozzle, my favorite dishwashing liquid was now in an upside-down bottle with a fancy new nozzle at the bottom that produced the exact amount of dishwashing liquid with one carefully nudged hand squeeze in a new upside-down grip that nobody seemed to get their heads or their hands around. Households was flooded with extra squirted dishwashing liquid leaking from this upside-down nozzle. Sales plummeted. Media addressed it, this unwelcome, unexpected change in articles. Housewives, mothers, children with dishwashing duty displayed full-on metathesiophobia of this uncontrollable upside-down bottle. If change in a dishwashing liquid bottle could result in such a public revolt, imagine the impact of change on matters a lot more significant than dishwashing liquid. The reality is that our way of work and the way we live is transformed continuously. The evidence of dramatic change is evident all around us, and it happens at an exponential speed. Some jobs will disappear. Some jobs will grow. Some of the most wanted jobs in the future doesn't even exist today. 65% of children entering primary school today will end up ultimately working in completely new job types. 35% of core skills and the top 10 skills for 2015 will have completely been transformed by 2020. Creativity will become one of the top 3 skills all of us will need. And skills such as emotional intelligence and cognitive flexibility doesn't even feature in the top 10 today. Skills such as subjective reasoning, imagination, questioning, storytelling, connecting, creating are all skills that will be required from all of us to stay relevant, to stay future fit. What do all of these skills have in common? They compel us to be more human. When our business looked at changing the engagement with our customers, we had to review our way of work to add optimal value to our customer, our business, and our people. This new way of work needed to be implemented across various teams in our business area. And we knew that people resisted change, if it's now in a change of a dishwashing liquid bottle or a new way of work. Especially if there's added pressure in still having to deliver your day job, your performance goals and targets, quality standards, while having to make this change. Let me tell you about how we enabled Gugu and her team, Bandile, Karen, and Charmaine, to change their way of work. We embraced a philosophy which underpins everything we did in transforming our way of work. Human beings use strategy to manage anxiety and fear, including the fear of change. 3 of the most common strategies are set out in what's called the drama triangle. Victims feel powerless, at the mercy of life's events, unable to take responsibility for what's happening to them. The rescuer looks for people to save, quick to come in, solve the problem, except it's not their responsibility, it's someone else's. The persecutor blames. They blame themselves, they blame others, they blame the group, they blame circumstances. I wonder, when last faced with change, which role did you assume? It's natural, human beings interplay these roles in different circumstances. However, the victim, persecutor, and rescuer are all roles that limit our effectiveness. They destroy value. When we introduced the new way of work in Gugu's team, they defaulted into the following strategies to cope with this change. Charmaine played the victim, not being able to take responsibility for what's happening to her. Karen saw this as a perfect opportunity to rescue Charmaine and to do her work for her. Vandile started blaming and criticizing Gugu. What we've learned is that when faced with change, these roles will appear. It's human nature. Even if you are as well prepared for change as you think you might be. It's what you do next that will determine the success of your change. The empowerment dynamic provides a set of alternative relationships or roles, which focuses on adding value, with the goal of the victim moving to the creator, the persecutor moving to the challenger, and the rescuer moving to the coach. But this doesn't happen automatically. To enable this, we developed a learning jury. Bandile, Karen, and Charmaine attended 1 week off-the-job training on the skills required for them to deliver this new way of work. It wasn't only theory-based, but highly experiential. Thereafter, we provided them with space. A 12-week transformation period in which to apply these new skills on the job and to effectively practice and execute and learn how to apply them to successfully deliver the new way of work. This space we provided wasn't an open-ended wasteland, complete free reign. It was a river. Imagine a river with a start and an end point which the people can travel along. We acknowledge that the speed at which each individual traveled from point A to point B is different. Also, the support they'd required along the way to stop them veering off into side streams might also be different. We allowed them space to transform their way of work at their pace. But the expectation was clear. Pandile, Karen, and Charmaine will achieve the desired outcome at the end of the 12 weeks. But they couldn't do it alone. Throughout the 12 weeks, Gugu provided support. Not punitive support, but support to learn from trial and error. Pandile, Karen, and Charmaine was supported, and they were allowed space to not get it right. She observed them, gave them feedback, coached them on performance gaps, and developed them. She leveraged deeply human skills such as understanding, connecting, challenging, developing, collaborating, directing, to add and enable this team to deliver this change. Gugu was again also receiving support from her leader, coaching, observation, and feedback to ensure that she adds optimal value to her team in turn. As Gugu was having more regular, structured, and supportive conversations with her people, we found that all the conversations within the team were changing. Pandile, Karen, and Charmaine experienced their interactions with Gugu as being more involved and more connected. The conversations became more productive, with clear outcomes and goals set, and the team taking more responsibility for their actions. Through this journey, Pandile moved from being the persecutor to being the challenger, driving accountability for actions and next steps. Karen moved to being a coach, not helping anyone, but asking questions for them to develop an action plan and next steps. Charmaine, previously the victim, moved to being the creator, focusing on finding solutions for the desired end state. Gugu has recognized the team's coping strategies when we introduced this change. And throughout the 12-week transformation period, she coached and challenged them continuously to find more empowering ways to think, relate, and act. Gugu practiced and developed the skills in herself and her team to adapt to change. Now that the team operates in these more value-adding, empowerment dynamic roles, they were found to be more connected, more aligned, more engaged, and more energized. They were having more fun, and they were getting more done. We created a platform to remain future fit, able and willing to embrace the changes required for us to stay relevant and competitive in the future. What we learned in transforming our way of work is that the fear of change is inevitable, that we need to provide the space for that change to occur, and we need to provide support to guide people through this change. In the workplace and in our personal lives, change is effectively enabled and enhanced through developing new human skills. Skills related to emotional intelligence, creativity, and problem solving. We taught our people skills to move them from their drama triangle roles into a place where they can continuously add value and engage in a more productive manner with others. To take people from a place where they're scared of fear, metaphysiophobiacs even, into a place where we transform, we allow space for that transformation to happen. We would suggest structure it and plan it, but not too rigidly. Support them and encourage them while they're making the transformation to develop their humanness, their future fit skills. Create the space, allow the space, and support the space to transform. Thank you.